start or sit Jared Goff versus Carson Wentz this week?
I'd start Jared Goff over Carson Wentz for
Just
sure.
made that move.
Dallas's defense is pretty good, and Wentz struggled last week. Not saying that Wentz is terrible, but he's not great, and that's a good defense. And Goff, he's going against a not great defense, and he's been doing pretty all right otherwise. So I'd be more confident in Goff.
Start sit Jared Goff or Kirk Cousins?
Still give me Jared Goff, to be honest, because Minnesota's in London.
Mm-hmm.
It's a weird time schedule. You and I talked about it a little yesterday. And New Orleans, not necessarily a slouch on defense. They're not great like they used to be, but not necessarily a slouch. I mean, there's always the possibility Kirk Cousins goes off for 30 points and throws 4 touchdowns, but there's also the possibility he does absolutely nothing. I think you can count on Jared Goff to at least get you 15 as a floor, upper to 25 at that ceiling.
What are we doing with Zeke and Pollard again? I think it's pretty simple for you. Zeke kind of snuck in with that touchdown. They were about similar in points. Pollard obviously getting a lot of yards. What are we doing here? Starting either one over the other or neither?
If you're going to start one over the other, start Pollard over Zeke.
Okay.
Because the touchdowns will come with the rest of that stat line at some point. You're not going to run for over 100 yards on how many carries did he have? 15?
Yeah.
You're not going to have that many touches without a touchdown coming at some point. If you have to count on Zeke to get a touchdown with the limited amount he does touch the ball, and I say limited amount as a loose term, he's not being as productive as Pollard, but he's getting a touchdown. So I would take Pollard. You honestly, if you're confident that Zeke is going to be the one getting the touchdown every week, you could start both of them.
Right.
I wouldn't, but it's a possibility.
Well, let's throw Zeke in there against some other guys. Maybe if you're choosing between a few here. Zeke or Chase Edmonds, start or sit?
Edmonds is in a good offense. I think he's had one decent fantasy week so far, but I don't see him being the one scoring in that offense. So I'd sadly still have to take Zeke over Edmonds.
Okay. So then let's go Zeke or Michael Carter.
I'd honestly take Michael Carter because, Breece Hall is kind of who they're going with as the one, but Michael Carter's still involved in the pass game. If you can throw a running back in, especially if you have injuries, a bye week, something like that, and he gets 5 catches for 50 yards, you're getting 10 points. And that's probably more than you're going to get if you just have to throw in some random scrub Samaje P. Ryan.
Right. On that note too, it's kind of like that's an interesting backfield to kind of parse through too. Where do you think that's going? It looks like Breece Hall is trending towards the number one guy, but you said it, Carter's still in there as a passing down back. Do you kind of lean one over the other, start them both if you can, or steer away?
I'd probably lean more Breece Hall because he is the one going to get more touches.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they're per touch value is probably in Carter's favor if it's going to be a catch for however many yards, because a catch, that's a single point automatically plus whatever he gets afterwards. But I think there's going to be more opportunities for Hall. So I would go with Hall.
Gary Terry or Deebo Samuel, starter set?
If Trey Lance was still the quarterback, I'd be a little more hesitant to say Deebo. But you got Jimmy G. So this offense is going to look like it did last year. Last week was the first week we had to see it. Deebo's going to be fine. Deebo is going to still be that top 5 guy. He's going to be running the ball. They showed a stat last week of all the different places he lines up: outside, slot, backfield, tight end-ish position. He lines up everywhere all the time. And he's, like you just said, motion. He's moving. You can't keep track of him and then they just get the ball to him in every which way possible. So he's going to be just fine, and he's going to be top 5.